Good sticks. Now I'm going to add a freshly squeezed lime juice and salt and olive oil. They're going to lightly pickle and they're going to be delightful. Very simple, and you're going to see how gorgeous this is going to look on top of the enchiladas with mole verde, and it's also going to be a very fresh contrast to the hot enchiladas. Not hot as in spicy, hot as in hot temperature.
Devin the Dude, y'all. It's called Right Now.
Once upon the wings of love, I dashed up on the craft. Wrinkled foreheads greet me, but I'm high, therefore I laugh. Attendants rushed me to check my bags. They said, hurry, we're 15 minutes behind. We have one seat left, and it's way in the back. It shouldn't be too hard to find. Go sit down. I said, all right, bitch. But I said it kind of low, didn't want no problem, so towards the back I go. Had a little weed, but we didn't want it to show. Some helicopter took my partner 3 months to grow, so I slid to the rear to find my chair. Hey, pretty girl, is this my chair here? But TYT didn't even crack a smile. She smelled my black and mouth. She think I be acting wild, and she refused to move her purse. Out the middle of the seat, freak tried to get the dude to curse. One of the niggas ran away. Just because of my color, thinking I can't behave, I said, pardon me, ma'am, excuse me, miss, but there's no reason for you to be pissed. I done paid my dues, paid my bills and fees, just wanna sit by the window here while I'm feeling the breeze, cause right now I feel so good and I won't let nothing or nobody bring me down. Can't wait until the pilot finally levitated. Trying to find a way to feel just like this every day. Breezier, 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 breezier.
EPMD, y'all. Old school. Like the middle 80s, late 80s.
I'm here to introduce to you some new boys in town. E.P.
Don't get too close because you might get shot.
Peace and blessings. This is the Cold World Podcast with DVJ and Michelle coming to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, y'all. we'll get to this opening, intro, music, clips, content, and all that. But I just wanted to take a second to say thank you. We're enjoying ourselves podcasting. I think we're spreading some information out there, you know what I mean? We're learning stuff as well, you know what I mean? So, and we're having a good time. Alright, y'all. And I just love the fact that Michelle and I have created an atmosphere and a space for ourselves to share our thoughts and ideas and our experiences. Alright, y'all. Let's get to this episode. Enjoy the music, clips, and content. This episode's right around 30 minutes, give or take.
Well, it's going to be longer than that. It's going to be longer than that, y'all.
The Death Star will be completed on schedule.
You've done well, Lord Vader. And now I sense you wish to continue your search for young Skywalker.
People don't know that Devin the Dude was very inspirational when we were kids because he was in a group called Odd Squad. Odd Squad was a group from Houston, I think, or Texas, and they used to have this song called "Up Yo for Show" to trying to get some more. That's the great Andre 3000 showing homage to Devin the Dude. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, Devin the Dude is underrated. He was a beast on that mic, and he's a great storyteller as well. And so I was like so happy that he reached out for me to get on with a job because I was like, man, you don't understand how much being big, like you should listen to Odd Squad. Yeah, I think they were signed to rap a lot. A lot of people don't know that Devin the Dude was very inspirational when we were kids because he was in a group called Odd Squad.
Kimberly, if you're really hungry, I'm sure Dad and Maggie will fix you something.
Yeah, but what if you eat his father?
Stop it! They told you, didn't they? Well, they're wrong. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not sick. And I want you all to leave me alone. Understand? But, Kimberly... Leave me alone! You don't understand. Nobody understands. I have to be fit. You didn't see those girls I got friendly with in Paris. Models and stuff. They did it, so did I. Daddy, it's easy. I don't want to be...
Rest in peace, Dana Plato.
Body. Daddy, I'll do anything I have to stay like this.
Victims of the Almighty Sarlacc, His Excellency hopes that you will die honorably. But should any of you wish to beg for mercy, the great...
Happy Star Wars Day, y'all. May the 4th be with you. My favorite movie is Return of the Jedi.
You tell that slimy piece of worm-ridden filth he'll get no such pleasure from us, right?
Jabba, this is your last chance. Free us or die.
So let's go out front, bro. Peace and blessings, y'all. This Sunday, about to take Chewy outside. For anyone that's new that's listening, Chewy is our February, March, April, May, 15-month-old pug, yeah. March, April, May. I was getting the math right. Yeah, we have a Valentine's pug. He was born last year on Valentine's Day. So, yeah, he's about 15 months old. Yeah. Y'all hear the birds chirping? Yeah, so we got Chewy out here. Just got done feeding him. Stuff like that. I had to go load a couple trucks this morning for work. I left here at like 3 o'clock. And I went and did that. Stopped off for little cigarettes and gas and shit like that. Yeah. So Sunday is just going to be a day full of relaxation. Got game 1 starting today between Cleveland and Indiana Pacers. I think that's going to be a gentleman's sweep. I think it's going to be 4 games to 1. I see Cleveland winning at 4-1. And then you got Houston and Golden State playing today. Game 7. I got to ride with Houston. I got to ride with Houston at home in Houston. Because the crowd does matter. When, like these kind of games, having that home court advantage in Game 7, I think means a lot. You know what I was thinking about, too? The only sport, I'm talking about like of the major sports, or really in general, I don't know, might be able to find some other examples. But, did you realize that, like, baseball is the only sport that I can just think of off the top of my head? Obviously, there's other ones, but as I can think of right now in this very moment, baseball is either the only sport or one of the only sports where you can't score, you know what I'm saying, when you're on defense. Or, you know what I mean, you can't steal the ball, get a turnover, change possessions, all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like in basketball, you get a turnover, steal, and it's your ball, you know what I mean? Back and forth. Football, interception, fumble, you know, that type of stuff, block, punt, all that kind of stuff. You turn the ball over and have it be yours right away. Baseball, you can't. You got to wait your turn for everything in baseball. I'm trying to think of any other sports just off the top of my head where you can't score on defense or you know, regain possession of the ball. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't like baseball. It's just, it's not enough action. If you even, and I know they've sped the game up some, like, you know, all that kind of stuff, but it's still slow and boring to me. It is fun to play. I love playing baseball and softball and shit. That's just fun as hell. But it's not fun to watch. It's too slow. And you can't, like I said, it's too hard to catch up. If you're down, like let's say in baseball, let's say the score is 6-0, and it's the 6th inning. The game's pretty much over already. I'm not saying that you can't come back and win, but it's just like too much stuff has to happen. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. And I know some people like that kind of competition where it's like, oh, that's kind of like a chess match and shit, and I get all that, but like, when it comes to sports, I need action. Like, I need pace and speed and people running up and down and, you know what I mean? And tackling and hitting and, like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I watch WNBA. I would watch WNBA, and it ain't no slight on the WNBA, but I would watch the WNBA before I would watch Major League Baseball. No doubt about it. All day long. Just because it's basketball. But, you know, actually women play basketball more, you know, they just play more basic and just like how the game's supposed to be played. They're not all super flashy. They pass the ball, they set screens, all that kind of stuff. They're going to play D. They're going to hit the open person. They're going to block out. They're going to set screen, all that kind of stuff. Not quite as selfish as men. when it comes to basketball and stuff. So, alright, y'all. Went in for a walk. We'll probably take him out for another one later. I usually just take him out. Like, we go out to the front of the building, like, take him all the way around. Basically going, like, side of the building and then come around through the back. So it ends up being about a 10-minute walk, stuff like that. But yeah, I prefer WNBA over Major League Baseball. I will watch golf before I will watch baseball, and golf is a slow sport too. But yeah, baseball is fun, but not to watch. But I love playing it. Alright, y'all. But happy Sunday. Oh, yeah, too. Our apologies on yesterday's episode. Saturday episode 2, I believe. Like, towards the end of the episode, towards, like, the last, I'm going to say maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes. I don't know what happened. Remember I was telling y'all last week that I recorded an episode. For some reason, it was like, it was doing all that shit. So I had to redo it and all that. So I don't know why that happened or what that's all about. It's not anything intentional. But so on last night's episode, you're going to notice, I'm going to say around the minute and a half mark, I'm saying before the episode's over, you're going to hear that. It's going to go, because I started to play a song and recorded it or whatever, and then when I listened back to it, I noticed that was on there. It's only about 20 or 30 seconds, though. So just fast forward through that when you get to that part. Yeah, y'all, I don't know if that's the Podbean app or I don't know, but that's not anything on my end. That's the third time that's happened now. We've been podcasting for a little over a year. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we started podcasting about a month before we got Chewy. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the third time that's happened. I don't know what that is. There's a little glitch or something in there with the Podbean app. But overall, I've been happy with Podbean. But, so just, you know what I'm saying, when you get to the end of the episode, you'll hear that. It's only about 30 or 40 seconds long, though. So just fast forward through it real quick, you know what I mean? That's one thing I like about podcasts and stuff. You can fast forward through stuff versus if you're listening to like a radio show or something, you just got to wait for them to be done talking or whatever. You know what I mean? Or get to the part that you enjoy listening to or whatever. But with podcasts and shit, you can fast forward, rewind, all that stuff. But our apologies for that. But I was like, man, I'm not going to go and reissue this again. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that serious. Yeah. All right, y'all. But enjoy the Sunday. I'm in from work. As y'all know, I just took Chewy out for a walk. Because y'all came along with us for the walk and the talk. But, nothing too serious today. Just going to watch some sports and just relax. You know what I mean? But, I was saying, too, keep in mind, like, sometimes, like I said, I know, like, we're not the best with, like, titling our episodes. And I know, like, that's a big deal. You know, title is kind of everything when people are looking for the podcast or whatever. So, titling is important. But at the same time, I don't want to stress myself out over that, being all like, ooh, what is, like, because sometimes, like I said, we talk about a lot of stuff. Y'all know that. We might talk about 20 different things in an hour. And some shows can be difficult sometimes when I'm at the end and I'm about to, you know, publish and edit and all that stuff. And then you're just sitting there like, oh, okay, now what all did we talk about? We talked about this, we talked about that, we talked about this. And so sometimes instead of just trying to write all that in there or whatever, I just put, you know, Sunday, episode 1, Sunday episode. Unless it's something like super specific like that I just for sure want people to know about, like just off the gate, out the gate. I'll title it, but I hope y'all would afford us that grace. You know what I mean? Because you guys know what we're talking about. You know, we pretty much, we have a wheelhouse. You know what I mean? Talk about societal stuff, cultural stuff, political stuff, family, culture, prison, all the isms, the sexism, the classisms, all that. We talk about all that stuff. We talk about what we're gonna eat tonight. You guys come with us to the grocery store and shit, and out on our little errands and stuff, which we all do, right? We all do that, all of us. I think that's one reason it's relatable. And I think people can appreciate our authenticity. And I think people can tell we're not in this to make money. Like I said, if that comes along, cool. Like, that, nice. Ooh, somebody hit us with some money. Or whatever. Oh, that was nice. That was cool. Like, appreciation, the way of saying thank you or whatever. But we don't get on here and ask people for that stuff. Because we have jobs. And like Michelle always tells me, like, this is therapy. And we've created ourselves an atmosphere and a platform to talk about our thoughts and feelings and how we feel about things and how we see the world. You know what I mean? And if you're interested, go on ChatGTP and ask them, what the Cold World podcast with DVJ and Michelle is about. You know what I'm saying? Because we Googled that just to see like what people are saying and stuff like that. So we're starting to get some reviews here and there and stuff like that. And like I said, we're not, we don't have a lot of promotion and sponsors and stuff going on. Y'all can tell that. You don't hear any on here, do you? You hear us shouting out things and people that we like or whatever, music and all that stuff, but like we're not sponsored with anybody. You know what I mean? So that's what I was saying, like, one way you guys could help us out is just spread the word. Give us a review, whatever sites you listen to your podcast or whatever like that, give us a review. Because we definitely could use reviews. I'm talking about especially like black and brown podcasters or more liberal podcasters in general. If you're white, black, brown, whatever, we're all in this, like we're all fighting this shit together. And so, it would be helpful to spread words, you know what I mean? Because I would love for people to hear our thoughts and opinions about stuff, you know what I mean? So just spread the word, you know what I mean? Give us a rating, spread the word or whatever, hashtag us or whatever, tell people to check out the Cold World podcast. We're on Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, Podchaser, Amazon Music. We're on all that stuff, Spotify, you know what I mean? All right, y'all, let's get back to this episode, though.
Resourcefulness, Daniel's invited me for a home-cooked lunch with someone very special. His mom, Ana.
¿Qué tal? Soy Eva. Encantada. Ay, gracias.
Pues yo suelo venir aquí a menudo, porque mi madre no cocina, pero le gusta mucho comer. Entonces yo solía ayudar a mis padres.
In the kitchen, celebrated chef and family friend Carlos Gage is cooking up a dish that's a perfect blend of Catalan ingenuity and Italian inspiration.
Vamos a hacer cannelloni.
¿Eso no es italiano?
No, sí, pero nosotros hemos adaptado desde hace 2 siglos y vas a degustar el cannelloni catalán.
Daniel's father believed Catalan cuisine was central to Catalan identity.
Shout out Eva Longoria. Eva Longoria. Watching her show on CNN. It's pretty good. She's Mexican, yeah. She's a Latina. I guess she's exploring like Spain or whatever now. I guess she had one a couple years ago about Mexico, but I think she has family that's from Spain or whatever as well, so she's exploring some of that. But, interesting show. Michelle and I have been wanting to check it out. So I'm doing that right now. I'm sipping on my coffee, Chewy sitting here with me. Say good morning. And just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's listening. I know I say that a lot, but we appreciate it, you know what I mean? We truly appreciate it. All right, y'all, let's get back to this episode. Enjoy the music, the clips, and the content. Yeah, but go check out that Eva Longoria. I think it's like Searching for Spain or Finding Spain or something.
No se ha desmontado ni uno.
Fun fact, she got her start on Young and the Restless, too. I don't know if that was her very first job, but I know that was one of her first jobs. Yeah, she was on Young and the Restless back in like the late 90s or early 2000s.
Lo hacía con sesos. Ponía sesos de corderito.
¿Ah, sí?
Ya más barato, claro.
¿Y esta en cuál época?
Los años 40, 50.
Había bastante precariedad entonces. Pero siempre me contaba mi padre que a veces se olía en el barrio de que estaban preparando un pollo y que la gente salía a los balcones a oler el aroma del pollo. Wow. O sea, ese era el nivel de hambruna que había.
Students like Daniel's father and mother, Ana.
Fueron a la cárcel los dos durante el franquismo.
Estabas en el cárcel, en la universidad, nos cogieron, ya estábamos manifestándonos. Y nos cogieron, nos hicieron un juicio militar. Yo estuve 6 meses. 6 meses. Y Manolo 16 meses.
16.
Franco vivió hasta el 75.
Sí.
Y aguantarle muchos años.
Y el día que se murió, ¿cómo te sentiste?
Pues fantásticamente.
Music interlude. This is Styles P and Davies. Y'all go check their Beloved album out.
Looks like you might have crashed your car, huh?
Oh my gosh. Hi. Yeah, I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you.
Rachel? So were you driving this way?
Yeah, obviously. That's the way the vehicle's facing.
Did you just not see the car on the side of the road, or how did
there was no car on the side of the road.
There wasn't?
Not to my knowledge, no.
You had anything to drink tonight, Rachel?
No, I haven't.
Just be honest. So here's the deal, Rachel.
So, here's the deal. I won't answer any more of your questions.
You don't have to answer any more of my questions?
No.
Okay. You don't have to answer anything.
If you'd like to know... Nope. Actually, I'll let you know what's going on from now.
White privilege lady. You hear how she's talking to this cop. Imagine if that had been somebody black or brown. They'd have been thrown to the ground in cuffs in the back of the car already.
Black and brown people don't get to talk crazy to the police like that. Only white people do. And I'm not saying black people should get to, I'm not saying that. I'm making the point that white people a lot of times do and say what they want. And they just flow through life and they don't expect to be interrupted or criticized or anything like that. That's why you'll be seeing them snapping out when they get pulled over by the police. They're like almost like, how dare you? You know what I mean? They get all bent out of shape. All right, y'all, let's get back to this episode and enjoy the rest of your weekend and the upcoming week, y'all. Peace and blessings once again, y'all. This is the end of today's episode. We really appreciate everyone that's listening. You know what I mean? Gonna enjoy some NBA basketball today. We got a Game 7 going on today. And then we got Game 1 starting up between Indiana and Cleveland. So Michelle and I are just gonna chill. She's still in bed. So, yeah. Alright, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. Gonna have some more coffee. Shout out Collectivo Coffee. We got more coming up. The episode is longer. More episode coming. Continue listening. So thanks for listening to today's episode. You know what I mean? Go out and do something good for somebody. And until the next one, peace. Continue listening. This episode continues. We added to it. How many?
2.
2 lighters?
Yeah.
Oh, they were dead?
Yes, yeah.
Was one of them red?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was green.
Oh, okay. One of the green ones finally went out. Because we had 2 red ones and 2 green ones.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Gretchen Whitmer hanging out with Trump, basically?
Are you talking about when she put the folder over her face?
Well, she did that, but like, she was just at something recently at a Trump rally or something, or he was somewhere speaking and she came out and I know she's trying to get stuff done and stuff for her state or whatever, but I feel like she's being selfish, and I understand she loves her state. You know, there's no doubt about that. And, like, she obviously needs to get stuff done or whatever. But at the same time, I feel like she's not thinking about how it looks to us. Because remember how they've been floating around lately like, oh, it's not about the facts, it's how people feel and all that bullshit. I still believe in facts. I believe facts matter.
Yes.
But, like, one could say that could apply to what she's doing. Because she's saying, oh, well, I'm doing this, working with him because I need to get stuff done, blah, blah, blah. But how it looks to the voter, us, and that's how I was saying, keep in mind, I'm a first-time voter coming up. I talk good for her, don't I?
Right.
Before the election, she was I was like, she should run, but I'm kind of falling back from her, I guess is what I'm saying, because it don't look right to me.
I understand. I think part of it is that, like, her state still needs government, like, she still, like she was saying, she still has to get shit done, right? And if it was a different Republican president who was normal, she would have gone. Right? But he's so, like, I'm torn.
She wouldn't have had to be putting folders up in front of her face and all that. And she, that's the thing, she probably wouldn't have had to go to the White House, basically, to kiss his ass for funds if it would have just been some regular Republican president. She wouldn't even have had to go there to do all that.
Right, because
they would have helped.
Because in the past, I feel like Republican presidents didn't punish Democratic states.
Right.
But
they just didn't see politically eye to eye, or they did stuff like through voting or
bills.
Or
and
they
stuff.
tried to come to middle
They
ground.
weren't just all on this, oh, you're a Democrat, so I ain't giving you fucking hurricane aid.
Right.
Like that type of stuff.
Yeah. Which is funny because he denied Sarah Huckabee's request for funds.
I love it.
In Arkansas,
I can't stand that lady.
Towns were wiped out by a tornado, and they wouldn't give her funds, federal funds. They told her to figure it out.
And you see how she's trying to talk to them all nice. Can you imagine if that was a Democrat president and they weren't her? She'd be all in their ass about it. You're not helping, but she's trying to ask him nicely because he doesn't want her. She don't want him to go off on her.
Unfortunately, some people are going to have to slightly kiss the ring in order to get what they need for the people that voted them in.
The Republicans?
Some Democratic governors are going to have to play nice to get what they need for the people that voted them in.
And that's crazy.
Yeah,
that they have to do all of that.
But they
just
have
to go to your president, because to go to your president, you got to do all this dance, and, all this tiptoeing around and figuring out how to do it and talk to him because he's an asshole. He won't help just naturally. That's his job.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's his job. Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
And the other thing is he gloats about it. Then.
Right.
He'll probably make some comment that she had to, oh, see, she had to grovel for that. I made her grovel for it.
That's crazy. Yeah, I could see him end up. Let her say something, and that's the thing. She's got to be all in line right now. You know what I mean? And just do all this, and so she can't even really be who she wants to be.
Right, but when you're the president for all people.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's
not
the one
just for MAGAs or Republic. You're the president for every single human being in this country.
Exactly.
And you have to be fair and bipartisan. Mm-hmm. You have to be.
And the other part of that too is like we say, Trump's temporary. He'll be gone in a few years, but that's going to be long lasting, how people feel about her now. Because there's people like me, you can call it petty or whatever, but I won't fuck with her now. I won't consider voting for her now because of that. I don't like how that looks.
Yeah.
And if you are going to act just do it in silence.
Well, isn't that worse, being sneaky about it?
No, I'm saying how you say, if you need to get stuff done, you don't have to put it on TV or I'm going to go to his rally so then maybe he'll help me and it'll look like we're working all that. She should just be able to she should be able to call him up and be I need this, blah, 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 for my blah, blah, blah.
She should be able to.
She shouldn't have to basically run up to the White House, go all the way across the country to kiss dude's ass.
Right.
Was he in Florida or wherever he was at? Not all the way across the country, but...
No, he was at the White House and she had to go there for something.
To basically beg. And they were talking about Westmore maybe running. Governor Westmore.
Or Stowski.
He wouldn't, yeah, Michelle says he looks like Stowski. He does a little bit. But he wouldn't win just based off the stuff that he would want to do. Remember, he got rid of all them state charges, the weed charges and stuff for people.
Yeah.
White people ain't trying to hear that for no prayer. He ain't going to be able to run because he want to continue to do more stuff like that. And they ain't going to want to hear that. He's letting all you know what I mean?
Democratic
they would
white
use
people.
that against him. Huh?
Democratic white people would be okay with that.
Yeah, but there'd be enough white people that don't like it. And then the majority white, like the Republicans and the MAGA, because the Republicans and the MAGAs would join together on that issue against him.
Probably. I feel like there hasn't been that much pushback on because people are seeing the tax dollars.
I think the reason they didn't say nothing about it when he did all that is because he wasn't running for president. If he was running, they would use that against him. Well, he wants to let all the drug offenders out and all, because they already look at black people like we smoke all the weed and all that. He wouldn't be able, because he'd want to do more things like to help poor people. He'd be saying that. I feel like he'd straight up be saying that. Like, you know how that is. Some white people, they don't like hearing that word poor coming out of a candidate's mouth.
Yeah.
We're going to get these communities fixed up, and we're going to, what? More welfare. That's how some people think.
Like, so he would be good in a different position to make happen, you mean?
I think he would. I just don't think he would. I would support him. If he was running, he'd be my first choice as of right now. But I'm saying, but what I know that, or what I feel like he would be running on, it wouldn't work. But someone like Josh Shapiro, who might, and I don't know, I haven't really heard a lot of what he runs on, but if, let's say he ran on or had a lot of similar views to Westmore and was letting state people out, like, that might work for him. That might take, you know what I'm saying, because he's a white guy.
I mean, as long as they don't make it their main sticking point.
But that's the other thing. What white people ain't got nothing in common with Westmore? Dude straight up, like, he's straight up from the hood. He plays sports. He listens to rap music and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't be applicable for enough. He wouldn't get over that hump. And he'd be in a sea of white candidates in the primaries.
Like, he's not square enough.
Exactly. I didn't want to say it.
So, like, was Obama square enough?
He was.
He just had a little bit of square.
He had a touch. He was applicable for them.
Yeah.
And it helped. He was from a big Democratic state in general, Illinois.
Yeah.
They're just through and through. They're always blue.
Yeah.
There's no purple with them. When's the last time Illinois has been purple? They're like Virginia. I can't think. Well, I'm going to have to look that up. Because if you would have asked me even 5 years ago, I would have told you Virginia was probably a red state. Just based off stereotypes, because it's kind of like in the South. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're blue as hell. I love it.
Well, they have 3.5 years to get it together.
3.5 years to get it together, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I'm paying attention, so definitely voting Democrat. But as of right now, if Westmore ran, he'd be my first choice, and then AOC. Those would be my top two right now. She said impeachment ain't off the table for her, too, right now. They were asking her. The reporters all got the microphones in people's faces and stuff. Yeah, we're watching 80s. They got Beastie Boys on right now. I only liked it their first album, though. It was a classic.
Yeah.
And the second one was decent, and then after that, I stopped listening to Beastie Boys. I like Third Base. Y'all familiar with Third Base? Or if you're not, go check Third Base out. They're another white rap group. They were good. So I was sitting here, I was just watching the news, and they're talking about potential Democratic nominees, you know what I'm saying, that might run for president in 2028. They were talking about that Gretchen Whitmer. I used to like Gretchen Whitmer, but lately I'm starting to pull back from her a little bit. Because I don't, and this is my personal opinion, right? We all have them, right? I'm entitled to mine just like everyone else is. I feel like she's being selfish right now. And I know, like, she's loyal to her state and stuff like that. And she's the governor and stuff. And I know they have, you know, stuff they need to get done out there, stuff she's, you know, fighting to get for them or whatever, services and stuff like that. So I feel like, you know, she's been hanging around Trump a lot lately in the White House and all that stuff. And just, like, she says one thing. Like, she recently said, I was watching CNN, because they were floating her name out there or whatever as a potential candidate. And she was saying, this is her quote, she said, just because I've been working with Trump or whatever doesn't mean I'm abandoning my values or whatever she says. So basically what she's saying is that just because she's working with Trump don't mean that she's not a Democrat anymore. Or you know what I mean? Or she's like kind of like, but to a voter, potential voter, and just like how it looks and how us Democrats are going to take it, us voters. Because see, what she has to keep in mind, I feel like she should be thinking like a voter. You know what I mean? And if you're doing all that stuff, like whatever you're trying to do for your state, do it in silence. You didn't have to go to the White House to do that. And that's the other thing. You shouldn't have to go there and basically kiss dude's ass to ask him for money, basically. Because whatever help you're asking for is going to involve money. Because it's going to have to be paid for, whatever it is. So you basically went all the way up to Washington to kiss dude's butt. And then, you know what I mean? And then, it's like she's trying to, like, work with dude, but not have us be upset about it. To say you can't play both sides of the fence. There ain't no time for that type of shit. You got to pick a side, in my opinion, right? So I don't like that personally, what she's doing. And I think, you know, it's all strategic, and her and her people feel like that's the way they want to go. Hey, to each his own. You got to let people be who they are. But I guess my point with her is, like, she's lost any support that I would have gave her. Because I'm going to be able to vote in 2028, y'all. I'm just putting that out there in the universe. I'm going to be a first-time voter. I'm voting Democrat. So, you know what I mean? So I'm itching to vote. So I'm paying attention to all this. But, yeah, I don't really like that. Me personally, I don't like that. Someone else might think it's okay. You know what I mean? I'm saying, but for me, that turned me off is what I'm saying, is my point of this. It turned me off. And I was a huge Gretchen Whitmer fan. You can ask Michelle. Because I was saying, you could probably go back and listen to some of the episodes maybe. But before the election and stuff, I was saying I would have been, when Kamala was looking for a running mate and they didn't know who was going to be her running mate yet, I was floating out the idea of Gretchen Whitmer. I was like, well, maybe one woman won't be able to win, but maybe two can. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't like that. What she's doing right now. I'm listening to 80s music too in the background, y'all. Love 80s music. I can listen to 80s music all day. Hold on, I'm gonna light this cigarette up. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, so just for me, I don't like that. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, like, people might, like, not agree with what I'm saying about that. So then what you're saying is that I should feel how you feel about it then, and then you'd be okay with it. But if I don't feel how you feel, then I'm wrong. When in reality, it's just all our opinions about, like things like this are opinion-based. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just don't like that. Because I think it sends the wrong message. And there's no time right now for there to be any gray area with that stuff. Because you can tell us, because look, you know how people are saying, well, it's not about the facts. I still believe facts matter. But I've been hearing this like that. Like sometimes it's not about the facts, it's how people feel about stuff. You know what I mean? So you could say that for, I think that could apply with what Gretchen Whitmer is doing. You can tell us that, oh, well, you're doing this because you need to get this done and you're trying to get this done, blah, blah, blah. But the way it looks to us, it don't look, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody trying to hear none of that, is what I'm saying. It's how it makes us feel. Because how it makes me feel when I see you in the White House with Trump, it makes me feel not good. Yeah. I don't feel good about it. I didn't like it when I saw it. I was like, But anyway, so they were talking about Governor Wes Moore from Maryland running. I would support him. So right now, let's say he did run. Let's say, because Obama said he wasn't going to run back in 2006, and he ended up running. But Wes Moore, I believe, as of right now, don't quote me, but I believe he said he's not running. And if that's true, if I could tap into his thinking, because from the stuff that he's done and the stuff that he said and the things that, and he's straight up like all the way for black people. There's no cooning in him. There's no Mr. Charlie in him. He's for his people. And one reason I know that, when he dismissed and erased, you know what I'm saying, them state charges for marijuana offenses out there in Maryland, that's what's up right there. When I saw him do that, y'all remember that? He what do you call it? Pardoned or whatever. Like thousands of prisoners that had, that were convicted for weed charges, state charges, not federal, state. And that was huge, because although like when people pardon individuals that have like federal weed charges and stuff like that's cool, you know what I mean? But it's more, it helps more on the state charges, because most black and brown people, I'm speaking about specifically, that get weed charges and like all that kind of shit, they're state. You know, your local police, you're getting pulled over, you're getting arrested, you're getting charged with weed and all that kind of shit. The majority is state charges. You know what I'm saying? Black and brown people. The majority of black and brown people that catch drug charges, they're state charges. You know what I mean? So that's going to help out more on a state level to pardon sentences for them. You know what I mean? So when he did that, when he did that, I was like, yep. And that's the thing, though. See, he wouldn't be able to win because he's going to want to do more stuff like that. And white people, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. And the reason they didn't make that big of a fuss about it is because, like, he wasn't running for president or nothing. If he would have ran for president this last time, they would have used that against him. That would have been the main thing they would have been saying, how he's weak on crime and he's letting drug offenders out and all that shit. They would have been saying that, the MAGAs. But, so, you know what I mean? He would be trying to help the poor. I feel like he would be saying that, and white people don't want to hear that. Remember when I say that? Overall, because white people are the majority of the voters in this country. They vote the most. And they don't want to hear the word poor coming out of somebody's mouth. Any candidate. That's why Kamala couldn't do it. She had to kind of tiptoe around it. You know what I mean? Because those are like, when white people hear them words, they're like, uh-oh, black candidate. They're going to start giving stuff to black people. That's how they see it. A lot of them, that's what they think when they hear that. You know what I mean? And because a lot of them white racists, and just some white people in general, they're not critical thinkers. But that's why he wouldn't be able to win. It's because stuff like that. Because he'd be speaking up for black people and wanting to help black people, like for real. And he wouldn't be afraid to say it. And it just wouldn't fly. It would only go so far. You know what I mean? And some of them racists and shit like that, they would see dudes with like another Barack kind of. You know what I'm saying? I would support him. I'd vote for him. Like, as of right now, I'm saying if he threw his hat in the race, it would be Westmore and AOC for me. Those are like my top two candidates right now. You know what I mean? And AOC's talking about impeaching Trump too. Well, someone had asked her, like, is it off the table impeaching? She said, no, I don't think it should be off the table. She didn't say she was going to get the paperwork together, nothing like that, I'm saying, but, and I smell the impeachment coming down the pike. Whether it resonates or not, I see one coming though. But yeah, that's why someone like Westmore wouldn't last. And then plus, too, he'd be in a sea of white candidates. So he wouldn't even make it through the primaries. You know what I mean? When in reality, he'd be the best candidate. For us. So, we'll see what happens, though. It's going to be interesting. But I just wanted to put that out there, you know what I mean? All right, y'all.
Yes, Mama.
We got smacked. We went to this little store, y'all. Got some snacks.
With $4 to spare.
With $4 to spare. Okay. You can't sit in your mom's lap when she drives.
No, like, I can't.
No, I'm putting you.
Do it.
Here, Bubba.
I got myself a brownie.
What order we get, baby?
And then the donuts you like.
We got brownies.
Oh, wow, gas is cheap out here.
Out here in the neck ones. Michelle got a chocolate brownie, or brownie with chocolate icing, I should say. And she grabbed me some, these are called cinnamon roll frosting with peanuts. No chewing, you can't be up here, bubs. Yeah, y'all know the vanilla donuts with like the peanuts on them? And they got, the vanilla, and then they got the peanuts like on them and stuff like that. I love those. I used to get those when I was a kid all the time. Let's see the date. Expires 5/6.
Oh.
2 days. There's 3 of them. Oh, that's perfect. So excited for Big Brother, too.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it starts late June. That's the word around town, is it might start late June this year, y'all. Big Brother 27 coming up. Yeah. They're going to have, so let's see. I'm hoping this will be the year that they decide to have maybe like 18 to 20 people in the house. They're not going to do that, but I think it would make for better feeds later in the game, for better live feeds, because there's more people in the house.
Agreed.
But let's say it's going to be 16, so the racial breakdown would be, they're going to have 4 black people, 4 white people, what's that, 8? 4 black people, 4 white people, they're going to have 2 Asian people, 2 Latin people, what's that, 4, 8, 12, 16. And then in that mix, they're going to make sure that they have someone gay, somebody left, they're gonna make sure they
got all their bases covered.
Yeah, which is cool. You know what I mean? We like that. It's about time, because back in the day,
it'd be like one black person.
One black person.
Nobody gay.
Nobody gay.
Or one.
Nobody lesbian. Nobody with any kind of disability. Didn't they? They were gonna have one lady on there a couple years ago. And she ended up getting, she couldn't do, like right before, she ended up they had to cancel her or whatever. Does she have is she the lady that, like, what is it when you can't grow hair?
Oh, alopecia.
Yeah. But something happened with her where they ended up replacing her at the last second or whatever. But yeah, so they're gonna do that. It's gonna be for. If it was all black people on Big Brother, do you think it would be as popular as it is?
Maybe.
Probably not. Because white people wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't watch. That's just another example of how they dominate everything. Like, whether they even realizing or people realize, you know what I mean? They kind of control, like, what, kind of how things get pushed out and what is accepted. You know what I mean? There's no way. Like, I would still watch Big Brother if it was all 16 black. I would. Because I'm black. But, like, a lot of people would tune out. A lot of white people tune out because they're the majority of the viewers of their show. That's what I mean.
But
they'd be turned off by that.
A lot of white women watch Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Because they like seeing black people and shit fighting and cussing and arguing with each other. It's entertainment for them. It is. Right. Seriously. What? For real. That many white people watching black people and shit, they would not normally do that for any other. They're not that interested in us. But they'll sit there and watch us on TV fuss and fight with each other. Throw shit at each other, beat each other's ass, or shoot a basketball, or play football. They love that.
Right, but some people they just don't. They don't care what people.
But unfortunately, that ain't the majority enough that can change the foul narrative. That's what I'm saying. So
I was just about to say, like, we're a small group of people that don't care about what color somebody is.
Right, and we don't matter in reality to the people that need to hear it because we're the minority. So that we're just complaining to them.
Right.
And that's the problem. Like, you even see it in the podcast world. We're surrounded by just, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's no reason to Joe Rogan. And I know Joe Rogan talks about other things too. But like a lot of in that Tucker Carlson, like people like that, they shouldn't be number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 in the podcast rankings.
Right.
For the stuff Tucker Carlson talks about, he's a racist. Why is he so popular? He shouldn't be.
Right.
If people were against racism and we were all blah blah and all that shit, nobody was racist, then why is he number 1 and 2 and 3 or in the top 10 or whatever? On any podcast list you want to go check, Tucker Carlson's bitch ass is going to be in the top 10. It shouldn't be like that. But I'm supposed to stop talking about racism.
Right. Right.
That's what I'm saying, you know. There's clearly an audience for assholes like that. Because he wouldn't be ranked so high.
Yeah.
His shit should be in the basement like ours is. As far as like ratings and rank, his shit should be niche or obscure or hard to find.
Right.
Not ours. That's all I'll be saying. Show me some black people taking books away and shit.
Right.
Like taking stuff away.
Can't you read what you want? Apparently not.
It's not. You gotta read what they want you to read.
Yeah. You are covered in dog hair.
I am.
It doesn't help that you're wearing all black.
I know. I'm like...
But you are...
That's how much I love that dog.
Yeah. Because if it was... like someone else's dog, you'd be like, oh my god, I'm covered in dog hair, I need to shower.
That dog in the back.
Yeah.
That dog in the back seat.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Because even though we've had dogs, even growing up as kids, like when I became an adult, I became a cat person. That's because I live by myself, you know what I mean? So you kind of just get the pet just to have something there with you. And I like how they were just independent. To worry about taking them out and all that kind of stuff. So, like, and then I just had a likeness, I have a likeness for tigers and leopards and lions. So I naturally like cats. They're just smaller versions of predators. But, yeah. But, I mean, I like dogs now.
Wait, okay. This new road system is freaking me out.
Because before me and you started dating, like, I hadn't been around dogs since we were growing up. We had the, Phoebe and Char, and then they died and stuff. But I didn't have any dogs of my own after that. So I wasn't really around, like, dogs on a regular basis again until me and you met.
Yeah.
And that's when I started. Sorry, I'm eating a donut. But that's when I started being around, dogs again and stuff like that. And at first, it wasn't I didn't like Charlie, it was just all the hair, the bugs, that kind of stuff. But after I got over that, I started to love Charlie. You know what I mean? So that was kind of my reintroduction to dogs again.
Right.
Now we got Chewy. I love the hell out of Chewy. He's like, man, let me see some of that donut. He's like, he love me later. He's like, let me see what that donut's talking about. Like, fuck all the...
He was like, that's
fuck
great.
All the cool, the
sentimental shit, yeah.
Get to this donut.
That's nice. Where's the donut?
Yeah. So we're headed home. We're heading home from Mequania.
What do you have to say?
What did you want to say something? To the peeps. Oh, and then Michelle got us what's this? Mucho Mango, Arizona.
You like that, right?
I do. And then Michelle, I think I already said she got herself a brownie.
That I'll eat in the middle of the night in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Sneaky.
Ooh, I'll probably put some peanut butter on it.
Ooh, hell yeah. That sounds good. All right, y'all, we're going to concentrate on the road, though. And happy Cinco de Mayo tomorrow for those that deserve to participate. If you're a Trump supporter, don't be at no food truck tomorrow. Don't be drinking no tequila. What, baby?
Today. Cinco Festival.
Today?
Yeah,
I saw it too, yeah. Yep. Alright, y'all, so if you're celebrating tomorrow, though, you know what I mean? Just, I know people are going to be drinking and stuff. Keep yourself safe. Don't drive around drunk, please. That's one of my worst. I hate that shit when people do that. I hate when people smoke weed and then get in the car and go drive, or smoke weed while they're driving. I think that's the dumbest thing ever, too. Just wait till you get home. It ain't that serious. Please. Because that has a ripple effect on us, other people driving and shit.
Like, I also just don't like it when I'm driving and all I can smell is weed.
That too, yeah.
Like, how is it that I can smell it in my car? Like, that's not right.